So, Lizzie, who used to work in the Ohio GOP, the RNC, and the Trump 2020 campaign, she posted an innocuous tweet. She said, "There's no hope for any of us outside of having faith in Jesus Christ alone," which is, pretty much non-controversial. You can get into the weeds of it, how this is more of a Protestant slant rather than a Catholic one. But, it's fine. I don't think this is meant to be posted as some type of huge controversy. And enter a congressman, Max Miller. Initially, he just says down here, "God says that Jewish people are the chosen one, but yet you say we have no hope. Thank you for your pearl of wisdom today," which is kind of like a bit butthurt thing to write, but okay, I guess. Most Christians believe that they're part of the second covenant, the new and eternal covenant, but that's neither here nor there. But not only did he post that, but he also added, "This is one of the most bigoted tweets I have ever seen. Delete it, Lizzie. Religious freedom in the United States applies to every religion. You have gone too far." And initially I was thinking, well, what is this guy on that he thinks this is some type of threat somehow? The most bigoted tweets he has ever seen. Not this, or this, or this. Neither of those three things are worse than this, than Jesus apparently. In the form of an innocuous tweet. And some of you might be asking yourself, like, how is it possible that you have a Republican congressman openly talking against Christianity and kind of slipping the mask off a little bit? Like, well, what's going on there? Aren't Christians like a major supporters of the Republican Party? Is it, if the majority of the constituents of Max's congressional run are Christians, why are you talking shit, Max? And, if you look at Pew Research, affiliation by religious group, you have that evangelical and mainline Protestants have an overwhelming support for Republicans. I think the only exceptions there will be Catholic and Orthodox Christians, which have more Democrat support rather than Republican support. So you might ask yourself, like, how is this guy, Republican congressman of Ohio, talking shit about Christ? I don't understand. If you look into his background, as I did, in Wikipedia, you see he's Jewish, which to some of you might not mean much. It doesn't even matter. Like, who cares, right? But Jews don't really believe in Jesus. So I think this is the other root of why this whole thing happened. And if you don't believe me, let's watch what Ben Shapiro has to say here.
From a Jewish point of view, where we don't believe in the divinity of Christ, I think that there you can make an argument that the Gospels, which were written,
he was just a prophet, and
significant. No, we don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think he was? What do you guys think?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans and got killed for his trouble, just like a lot of other Jews at that time who were crucified for trying to lead revolts against the Roman and got killed for their trouble.
So I think that's where it's coming from. If you want to know more, Lizzie wrote a great article on the Federalist, where she broke down the whole interaction and everything. And something that really surprised me, like, if you would have asked me, like, hey, Ilhan Omar, do you agree with her? I wouldn't be able to kind of like point out exactly, a breakdown of everything that I disagree here with. It's just a gut feeling. But in this case, she came through. She's like, no, the stating the core beliefs or principles of your faith isn't bigoted, as Lizzie did. It's religious freedom, and no one should be scolded for that. Amen. It's also wrong to speak about religious freedom while simultaneously harassing people who freely express their beliefs. So, and everybody in the comments, based, rare, Ilhan W. And it's amazing that it's come to this, where I agree with Ilhan Omar, and I stand beside her on this issue. And this issue alone, probably. But still, it's interesting, Politics makes for strange bedfellows, I guess. And to be fair, Max did apologized. He said that I posted something earlier that conveyed a message I did not intend. But the problem with this kind of like apologies, this kind of like instant apologies, that he doesn't really explain anything. Like, can you elaborate? What message did you intend to convey? Or, and how was it wrong? How people interpreted it was wrong? How you expressed it was wrong? Like, it feels like it needs to be more, the idea needs to be fleshed out. And you need to be honest about it and come through and say, hey, this is where I'm coming from for A, B, and C reasons. But here it just looks like he just didn't like the reaction because everybody was universally opposed, except for some other Democrat that is of his same group. So they might disagree. He said, I think, I disagree with you politically, but I think in this case, you're right. And so I think the initial tweet got 11 million impressions, and the apology here got 2. So I feel like most of the commenters below agree with me in the sense that this feels more like a mask off moment. Like he just was a little bit too impulsive in saying, in typing out what he really believes. Because I'm not trying to dogpile here or anything, but if you look at the guy's Wikipedia and you go to the section of legal issues, he has plenty of issues, and you can say, hey, it's in the past, or why not? But I think people rarely change and do a 180. He has, if we just go through it real quick, in 2007, 2 misdemeanor charges for assault, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest, which got later dismissed. 2009, underage drinking, later dismissed. 2010, disorderly conduct stemming from a late night physical altercation. 2011, operating a vehicle without reasonable control and operating a vehicle impaired after crashing his Jeep. 2021, accused by a former White House press secretary who had dated him, and she said that she claimed he had been physically abusive to her, cheated on her, and lied to her. And so if I may, I think this is a bit of a trend of lack of impulse control. I don't think it's crazy to say that. And I wish the story ended there, but it doesn't. Like a few days later, so Lizzie works for a pro-life NGO, and she got fired. She worked for Ohio Right to Life, and they gave her a chance, to be fair, to resign, to save face. But since she said, no, I'm not resigning, she was fired. And the plot thickens because in the board of Ohio Right to Life sits the wife of Max Miller. Who would have thunk it? And, here in Republic Sentinel, this article that I'm showing here is from the Daily Caller, and they're quoting an article from the Sentinel that reports that Lizzie had some disagreement with a fellow employee on over a tweet in which she called a pro-abortion activist a murderous liar, which, to be fair, if you believe abortion is murder, then, it's a pretty literal way to describe it. So yeah, Miller's wife, Emily Moreno Miller, sits on the board of Ohio Right to Life. Which is interesting, right? And then the CEO of Ohio Right to Life, he said that, he confirmed she's no longer employed there. And this decision was not based on any single event, as some on social media claim. We appreciate Lizzie's service and wish her the best in future endeavors. Which to me sounds like a whole lot of bullshit. And he's technically not lying, because even if he fired her for this interaction ultimately, he said that it wasn't based on any single event. So it wasn't just this, but probably this, in addition to some issue they had before, which is total bullshit in my opinion. But this is the place where we're at. I think if you stand with Jesus, this is the backlash that you're getting. And let me close out by saying that if the world hates you, John 15:18 through 25. If the world hates you, keep in mind that he hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. Remember what I told you. A servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also. If they obeyed my teaching, they will obey yours also. They will treat you this way because of my name, for they do not know the one who sent me. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would not be guilty of sin. But now they have no excuse for their sin. Whoever hates me hates my Father as well. If I had not done among them the works no one else did, they would not be guilty of sin. As it is, they have seen, and yet they have hated both me and my Father. But this is to fulfill what is written in their law. They hated me without reason.